Here's the no fluff explanation of the way that we have homeschooled our kids and how we encourage and coach other homeschoolers that are looking for what it is that we've been able to do, not just at home, but with other homeschool families as well. It starts with the understanding of the 3 stages of homeschool. This is very different from a traditional school mindset where you're thinking age equals grade and that you go from this grade to that grade. Embrace the truth that there are 3 stages of homeschool: the foundation stage, where kids learn to read, the flourishing fun stage, and then the launching stage, where kids step out into life. The Olympian Way, which is inspired by our son and his Olympic journey that he is on and the level of coaching that he's received, is to step in the footsteps of people that have gone before you that have the results that you want to achieve. So no matter what you choose when it comes to educating your kids, by design, follow people that you like the fruit on their tree, or you like the way that their homeschool has turned out, the way that their family culture is, and the success that their kids have had. So embracing the 3 stages of homeschool. Number one, when the kids are little and they can't read, you are very heavy on the life and the life skill side, where you're focusing on routine and flow of the day, building in a team type culture where the kids rest and eat and work and play, and then little bits where you're reading stories and teaching them how to read, getting them familiar with their basic math facts. That stage is different for everybody. Most kids graduate out of the foundation stage by the time they're 7 or 8. My youngest son didn't read till he was 10. And I've talked to homeschoolers that their kids didn't read till they were 12 or 13, just because of different things. So goal for the foundation stage is life, routine, predictability, relationship building, character training, and getting past that first hurdle of learning how to read. Before we talk about flourishing and fun, let's talk about the launching stage, which is the last stage. Sometime between the kids being 12, usually 14 and older, they start to have this passion or this curiosity towards something it is that they want to do. That's when you see that they want to be a doctor or a dancer or a mathematician or a scientist or a writer or a historian, whatever. The goal and the passion starts to bubble up. And in that launching stage, that's when you really dig into academics. They have the foundations. We'll talk about the flourishing in just a second, but this is where you look into, well, what does it mean to be a general contractor? What kinds of requirements do you have? Do you have to get a college degree? Do you just get a contracting license? How do you establish your business? And you start walking through all those steps, plus looking at the lifestyle. This is what a general contractor makes in a year. Is it the same in Oklahoma as it is in Washington, Texas? So you just walk through all of these stages with projects in mind that they're doing a survey of what it is that they want to do when they grow up. And you wrap academics around it. So imagine your son or daughter wanted to be a general contractor or a cosmetologist, like with hair. I just did these brainstormings just the other day. So for the cosmetologist, we looked at what kinds of schooling do you need in order to do hair? What are the different things that you could do if you're interested in cosmetology? Do you need a college degree? Do you go to trade school? What kinds of differences in occupation? What's the chemistry behind it? What's the history behind it? You take their goal and then you wrap academics around it, because you're never going to check off all the boxes, right? It's impossible to teach the kids all the trivia. But if you don't hit their heart and their life passion at that older launching stage, then you lose them. And they feel like, well, what's the point? The flourishing and fun stage is right in between. They've learned to read, they're not ready to launch. And so this is where our philosophy really lives. And that's in this idea that you wrap academics around things that you as a parent are interested in or that your kids are interested in. And it's not necessarily just unit studies, but it's this idea that life is an adventure and you fall in love with something first and then you dive into it. So you go to the ocean and you find a sand dollar and you jump in the waves and you body surf, and then you go home and you look for books and movies and art projects and math extensions and science extensions and history, because the kids have already tasted and seen how awesome it is, and now they want to learn more. The beauty behind Homeschooling Olympians is that it's child focused, it's family focused. It can be very academic depending on what your kids are focused on in the launching stage. But the reality, the heart of this is to fully embrace the truth that our kids are living in a world that they're walking around with supercomputers in their hands. They have access to information coming at them at lightning speed. And if you give them launching level academics when they're in that flourishing and fun stage, then what you'll notice is that they'll argue with you. They'll wrestle with you. They'll break their pencil 14,000 times. They'll bug their sister or torment their brother, because what it is that they're learning doesn't have any connection to them. It just doesn't excite them. And no, school is not always fun and games. But in that stage of delighting in learning, you have to look to the long-term goal. You have to look at the 18-year-old that's super excited to step into their future. They're fully engaged, they're kind, they seek curiosity, they know how to ask for help, they have mastered the basics of the fundamental math facts. They love to read, they love story, they've been marinated in story for years, and they've become excellent communicators, both on paper and orally. That 18-year-old is ready to take the world by storm. And so when you're looking at your 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old, and you're trying to figure out curriculum and what do I need to teach them in the day, it's the wrong question. The wrong question is, what curriculum do I use? What grade is my child in? What are the checklists of all the things that make a day successful? Instead, the Olympian way is, how do my kids learn? How do I capture their curiosity? How do I lean into what it is that they're curious about and give them the academic footsteps necessary in order for them to thrive? So what Olympians brings is, number one, it has a 6-week mindset reset, because some of us taught in classrooms before. And so the idea that you just let the kids run and play is just so foreign. Like, we're so into lesson plans and scopes and sequences. So that just feels freaky. So the 6 weeks is to understand what the source of the fears are, how to get on the other side of a curriculum-based focus versus a child focus, not throwing curriculum away per se, but using it as a tool rather than the slave master. And then leaning into character training, routine establishing, finding that peace and rhythm within your home, and finally, how to create projects wrapped around what the kids love that touch on all the academic bases. So that's the first big chunky piece. The next piece is community, that some people don't take advantage of because they're swarmed by kids and they just don't have time. But it's off social media, and that's where we do group trainings, group coachings. At the time of this recording, I'm just putting together a how to survive the 3 gauntlets of change that kids go through so that you have your relationships intact on the other side. We've also done how to identify your child's learning style, teaching with multiple kids. It's a great little community. So that's included in Olympians if that piece works and fits. And then the last piece is that you have access to me in one-on-one coaching, where we can break apart chunks of your day, your routine, things that you're learning, and give you a success plan for you to march in as you're homeschooling. So that's Homeschooling Olympians in a nutshell. If you have questions, linked below is my calendar, and I would encourage you to book a time so that we can talk one-on-one, so that we can just answer your questions and get you on the other side. If it's something that feels like, wow, this feels like what I always imagined homeschooling could be, because you can teach an older child anything. if they're kind, if they're respectful, diligent, hardworking, if they have grit and they chase curiosity. But on the other side, if you squish all the joy because they are just turning the page, doing the next thing, and they can't see why they need to do things, then they become hard and unteachable, and worse, they feel like a failure. So, Homeschooling Olympians is created to break the chains from curriculum one family at a time. My name is Bekki. We have 5 sons that we have homeschooled in this way, and we've been coaching homeschoolers for over a decade, and we would love to answer your questions or see you on the inside.